So welcome to the Tea and Tech, Jaime. I'm so excited to be chatting with you. Jaime is just low-key the chief scientist at Microsoft and really like a foremost thinker really in AI and leader in the space. And I'm just so excited. I'm fangirling a little. So are you ready to get into it?
Sure.
Also, I just want to take a moment to pause and be like, we don't have enough women leading in AI. And so you are an inspiration. So thank you for doing what you do. That's part of the reason I wanted to chat with you is that we need, more people to see role models like you. The reason I'm here, what we all are thinking, I know my audience is always thinking about, is AI and the future of work. And I feel like you're the person to talk to about it. So can you paint us a picture? Like, what will AI at work look like in the next 5, 10, 15 years? Paint us a picture of what the future is.
Yeah, well, or even like what the present is.
Yeah,
like in some ways, we're living through the future right now, which is kind of crazy. I would say we're right now in a phase where we're thinking about AI for individual productivity. Like, how do I get things done? And so everybody's using AI to write more documents or create beautiful PowerPoint decks or send their emails or summarize content. That's very much like how do I get things done? And then I think what we're looking towards is increasingly, when you start thinking about how groups of people work together, since we've had computers, we've been using computers essentially to collaborate around creating artifacts. And so like it's the documents and that we're creating, those are lossy. Like you lose all of the process and all of the knowledge that happens, the conversations that go into creating those artifacts. And I think we're moving towards thinking about how people and agents work together to create shared knowledge, and the artifacts are more of a byproduct from that. The knowledge we're creating is getting actually created through the conversations that people have together, and then getting stored, and then being able to be used and surfaced by AI to operate in a collaborative space where we actually start working together.
Agents is the big word right now. Everyone's talking about agentic enterprises and workspaces. So how do agents realistically figure into work now, or will they in the future? Where do humans stay in the loop in that process?
So right now, everybody's probably, like, if you're using an AI system, you're using an agentic system behind the scenes. There's a bunch of different, individual models have gotten really big and powerful, but the way those models work together to get things done is equally important. Even just when you start thinking about, like, how does AI interact in, how does it respond quickly when you need something fast? How does it go take deeper, do deeper reasoning in other contexts? And those are different models that you actually need to use. So we're already using agentic, and actually there's, you even talk about accountability, there's agentic, there are a lot of pieces that underlie any of these systems, like how do you go find information and pull that up? How do you reason over whether the model is doing the right thing? And those sort of all operate together. So that's sort of a behind the scenes thing. And then I think there's also more from the from the end user perspective also. We're going to increasingly start seeing, like, what does it mean to have different concepts of the roles that AI plays.
Like different personas.
Different personas, different ways of engaging. And that matters too, because a lot of, I was talking about how we're using AI individually a lot. We're thinking about, how do I write more documents? So that's like, I can be working with my co-pilot and you can be working with yours. But like, what happens when it starts operating with both of us?
Right.
And like, it has to figure out our shared intent. And start moving towards our shared goals.
That's right. How does that happen?
Yeah. Well, so like that. This is actually really a lot of interesting research is happening here too, because models, basically the models that people are using now, have been trained largely on this output data that we were talking, the artifacts of work versus the process. And they've been like fine-tuned. You probably know about instruction tuning. They've basically been instruction tuned to like respond to particular input that people give. When we start thinking about models operating in real work settings, we start thinking about, one, how do we train the model on collaborative artifacts and collaborative data? So like transcripts of conversations and ways the processes that people get things done. And then you start thinking also how you start optimizing for our collective goals. And so like, even if you think about this conversation, like you and I come to this conversation, like we have a shared goal of like, we want to have an interesting conversation and share interesting stuff with people, but then we have individual goals. as well.
Yes.
You know, I might be like, oh, I don't want to say something stupid. And you may be like, oh, I've got this long-term topic that I'm interested in that I want to probe on. And so like it becomes really interesting to take my personal goals, your personal goals, and our collective goals.
It's like a negotiation.
Yes.
So then how do they negotiate?
Well, so that's, so actually, so it's a psycholinguistic concept called grounding. It's sort of funny because we now talk about grounding for models, which is like, how do you provide the, you know, the documents and content that ground the model? Actually, what we do as humans is a lot of grounding.
Sure.
Our conversation is about grounding. And so I think that form of grounding is going to become much more important, and it's going to start becoming like the process of doing work is roughly like, how do you and I express our intent? How do you and I start reasoning? You know, it used to be like, how do you and I create this PowerPoint deck or this? And now it's like, how do we decide what we want to do? How do we set our metrics for what we want? You know, how do we know when we've achieved success? We do also grounding. How do we bring my background knowledge and your background knowledge to the table so we get things done? And then how do we evaluate it?
But my pushback is, how do you ensure that the agents are actually collaborating and like one doesn't take over? Like, what are the systems of control there?
Well, I wasn't even talking about agents. I'm talking about humans.
Actually, the
and
human
you and
connection.
me, and like it's and the agents are here in this system. You know, in many ways, the agents, humans are always the accountable ones. We're the ones, you know, who are on the line. We're the ones who can get in trouble. We're the ones who get harmed when something, you know, it's our responsibility. It's never like, agents are just about helping us.
Yeah.
And how do they help us get more done?
Well, that brings me to a question that I get a lot from my audience, which is people are scared of AI in the workplace, honestly. And I think the word agentic is exciting, but also scary to people. So like, what's a good way for my audience to think about agents in the workplace and how we collaborate with AI at work?
Yeah, I mean, change is scary.
Yeah.
Always. Like that's just people. I think that one of the things that I think is important is, you know, you just, when you play around with these models, it's so much fun. Like there's something about like bringing the joy into it.
Yeah, it's delightful.
It is delightful. And so like, and I actually think this is true for individuals and it's true for organizational leaders too, is like you have to create, like when you get scared, people like close off and get narrow. And it's like, how do you create safe spaces for yourself? And as an organizational leader, how do you create safe spaces for your organization to experiment and try things out, you know, and figure things out? Like, I feel like that's where, like, that's what you do in this scary space.
And I think that's why the onus, in my opinion, really does lie with the managers, the enterprises, to actually help kind of upskill, reskill, and also educate people about how to work with AI, and also that it's not some big scary beast, right?
Yeah. I mean, one of the things, and this is, I think this is why human collaboration matters so much too.
Yeah.
Like, part of it is, we're all going through this transformation together. Actually, the way people learn too is by talking and sharing. You know, I feel like being able to engage with other people, like to kind of share the things that feel scary and share the things that are cool and are exciting is a really important sort of foundational piece.
And I think at the enterprise level, but also a lot of the work you do is about guardrails, right? It's about, you know, allowing the AI to enable us, but also protecting us from that next level, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's, to your point exactly, is, you know, AI isn't like some arbitrary thing that's going to go off and take over the world. It's essentially something that's enabling us as people to get things done. And it's we are the guardrails. So it's not like we both need to build those in, but we need to feel a responsibility for that. Like it's actually really exciting to be living right now at a time when things are changing a lot, and like we have the opportunity to create the future. It's like, yes, it's scary, but it's like really exciting.
Really exciting too. You know, I was speaking actually at LinkedIn last week, and one of the analogies I used was that AI is like the Microsoft Word of the future. It's a tool, right? It's an essential tool at the workplace, not something that's replacing us or kind of our cognitive abilities.
Yeah, well, and it's and part of the challenge there is it does require different kinds of cognitive work from people to work with AI. So like in many ways, it took us a long time to figure out how to work with computers and what that means. And there's specific skills that we learned. with AI, it's a different set of skills. It's actually a really interesting set. It tends to be up a metacognitive level. Like it's a lot of this, like how you express intent, how you do planning, how you evaluate.
Yeah, it's enabling us to do the things that are uniquely human, right? So it's like if you go into a room and ask, how many of you want to do the job that your AI is doing? No one's going to raise their hand, right? So it's like...
Well, and I do think, there's a fun, just in the same way, like, there are ways to use, one of the tricks is actually as much as is to think about how AI can also support that metacognitive work as well. So like the most successful ways that we see people using AI is when you use it to challenge yourself or to like try out different scenarios. I think about this when I'm gonna send an email that I'm not sure how it's gonna land. It's really useful to actually ask AI to be like, go fuss about this email from the perspective of, and then I can, from a fussy customer or from an engineer, or like look at it from from a scientist, look at it from all these different perspectives. It's actually helping, it helps me. So like, it's hard to go move up the like humans actually like doing boring stuff. It's why like sometimes doing the dishes is fun.
Because it's like control.
Because you like, so like this rote work, it's nice. You get to check things off your list. It's comfortable. You get to see that all your dishes are done. Like it feels good. So it's actually interesting to start thinking about like, how can you use AI to like, to support the kinds of metacognitive process. Like I think the more we're getting good at modeling what helps people be successful and get their goals done, the more AI can help us do that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's so much, a little bit of a hot tea take maybe, is in this quarter alone, we've seen something like 100,000 tech jobs being lost. The reason supposedly is AI. We don't know if that's just a cover or the real reason about AI replacing us, but from what I'm hearing from you, it's more about a restructuring, right? It's more about companies thinking about how to integrate AI versus AI for one employee.
Yeah, and like my expertise is in the macro workforce things, but it's very much in the like, what does AI mean in the work context? And what we're seeing right now is that AI is absolutely helping people get faster and more efficient at some tasks, like summarizing documents or generating a beautiful PowerPoint deck. But exactly as you said, it's opening up this opportunity to do a bunch of really interesting new things and start thinking about things. One of the things I get really excited about is actually like, what are the new artifacts of work that we're going to be creating? Because it's when you start thinking about these new things, being able to, one of the trends in AI research is this sort of rubric extraction. And so like, how do you look at look at data processes, things people do, and like extract sort of the higher level rules from that? And what's cool is like, it's hard for humans to be able to look at like a bazillion different things and see the patterns. But if you can extract those patterns, then actually as a human, you can reason over it quite well and be like, oh no, I don't actually, like, yes, this is the pattern that was extracted, but this is something I believe in. This is something that's not, and start adjusting that.
We're like reasoning at a higher level.
Exactly. So instead of having to look at all the little pieces, we get to think at that higher level. An example even, like this is sort of a silly example, but one of the things I have really enjoyed AI for is its ability to scale natural language. So if you think about like restaurant reviews, if a popular restaurant has 100 restaurant reviews, the only way you could understand those a couple of years ago was by looking at the star rating. And you'd be like, oh, this restaurant's 3.5 stars. Now you can get a summary of what's happening. Like, oh, this restaurant's got amazing cocktails, but their vegetarian food's not that good.
Nuance.
Yeah, nuance at scale from hundreds of people. And I think like that's a really interesting thing to start, like, what does it mean for an organization to start thinking about how to reason over the good thoughts that people are having at scale, So like you may have a company strategy that you try to push on your organization from the top down. But if you go and ask everybody in your organization what they're working on and then aggregate it in the same way you might a restaurant review, that's what the organization's working on.
Totally.
Like, that's the foundation.
You have
of
a
what's
macro
happening.
level
Correct.
view. Yeah, so it can supercharge management, leadership, and like strategy.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. Okay, so I know a lot of my audience will want to hear from you on just advice. Can you give them some advice on how to think about AI in the workplace, what they should think about for their careers?
You hit on it a little bit, like have fun with AI right now, play around, share and collaborate. Like we've essentially been spending these past couple of years as early adopters, and that's hard. Like humans aren't kind of, set up to always be adopting things new. So I think really giving yourself the space to, and like not feeling like you always have to be on the top of every single trend everywhere. I mean, I'm an AI researcher, and there's so much that I don't know about, like what's at the very fore always. I think we talked a little bit about accountability. I think accountability is core and is going to remain. So like really thinking about how to critique, in some ways, if you think about it, these metacognitive skills we were talking about, like how do you set yourself up to be successful with those metacognitive skills? Like read a lot, talk a lot, have broad thinking. Like that's when you can start thinking about things differently in new ways. Like,
I love that.
Challenge things, like try to do things differently from the way everybody else does it. Spend a lot of time being accountable and like thinking about what matters and what's right and does this make sense. Like those are the opportunities. It's those like metacognitive skills and how you set yourself up for them.
I love the idea of being playful with AI. Like it is delightful, it's fun. Do you have any fun favorite use cases for Copilot or anything you do that's fun with it?
The fun things. I'm such a silly. I really like making cocktails.
Oh, so cocktail recipes. That's a good one.
Yeah, I will be like having whatever's top of mind. I'll be having a conversation. Like I was having, my husband and I were chatting about A Midsummer Night Dream.
Oh,
and I was
cute.
asking questions about that.
Yeah.
And then we decided to have a cocktail, and it came up with these like wonderful, like floral, like mysterious,
Wait, that's so
like, cocktails.
cute. I love
for
that.
us.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I love that. And what about, I guess final question, I know we're running up on time, but maybe your favorite tools that people should try out if they haven't yet?
Copilot. People should try out Copilot.
That was a softball. And Copilot's amazing because it uses all the models, right? It uses the best model for the best prompt.
Yeah.
So
no, it's exactly. So Copilot's amazing because it both is able to ground. So one of the things is like, it is really important. These models can be so powerful if they're grounded in your in knowledge about you and your information. And so Copilot is both able to ground in your information in a good, trustworthy way. It brings the best model to bear. We were talking about like if you need a fast model to do something quickly, if you need deep reasoning, if there's something new that just came out that's awesome, it can bring that. And then Copilot also operates in the surfaces where you're already doing work.
Totally, yeah. It's the work angle, the personal angle, the multimodality. I love the voice. Like it's great. It's very good.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, Jaime, thank you so much for the time. It's like it was so exciting chatting. And yeah, everyone play around with Copilot if you haven't yet.